friends, and welcome to another episode of your Bish Therapist podcast. And today I am so happy to have our friend back, Mary Payne from Pink Shade Pod. Hi, Mary Payne.
Hey, girl. How you doing?
I am wonderful. How are you doing, my friend? You've been like a traveling, you're just like...
I'm in the same spot. I'm in the same spot. I've been in the same spot for a month.
I just feel like you do so many fun ththings. Like you just have such a fun life, and I love that for you.
I love that you think that. That's great.
Okay, fair enough.
Because here I am. I'm at the beach. I've been here for a month, and my son and his girlfriend just got here, so that's great. And I'm leaving early next week, but I would have been here for a month. I haven't seen my dogs or my daughter in a month. Yeah.
Which one do you miss more?
I'm
just kidding.
The daughter I can talk to on the phone. The dogs,
right?
They don't like to FaceTime. So yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my gosh! So what kind of dogs do you have, by the way?
They're mini golden doodles, and Violet's like 25 pounds, should probably be 20, and then Ginger is like 14 pounds, should be 16. She has a undiagnosed eating disorder.
Oh no, not a doggy disorder.
Well, you have to feed her by hand on the couch, and she won't eat any other way.
Can I be honest? I had... So when I was 17,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When I was 17, my parents, like probably the only nice thing they ever did for me was they got me a dog because they thought I was dying of cancer.
Oh.
And this dog was like my literal best friend. This dog, like when I lost my hair, she slept over my head on my pillow.
Aww.
But she was one of those dogs that like she would just get in these moods. Her name was Lily. And you'd have to literally take, like she wouldn't eat it from the bowl. You'd have to put it in your hand.
Yep.
She'd take it from there, take it to her little mat, and then come back for another one. That's like a love and a safety that it's like, you know what? I know you're going to bend to my will so much, owner, that I'm going to just do whatever I feel like doing, and you're going to feed me out of your hand.
If I'd like to lay on the couch and eat like some sort of Renaissance woman, like laying, with someone feeding her, that's how Ginger does it. Violet, the bigger one, on the other hand, who is a little chunky, she will eat anything and everything. She doesn't care if it's in a bowl, on the ground, on the couch, something she finds on the street. She'll eat anything. So while we feed Ginger on the couch, she sits next to us and paws at the couch and cries. Even though she's already had her food. So, it's good times. And that's what I miss. I miss hand feeding my dog on the couch. But I'll see them next week. And I'm very excited about that.
That is wonderful. And it reminds me on Real Housewives of OC, unfortunately, like we watch Archie, who sadly has passed away, has passed to the Rainbow Bridge, Archie Bador. So sad. But I love that we get to see Archie, and we get to see Archie with Shannon's new dog, who sounds a little bit chaotic. And what you just said.
It's a puppy. It's a puppy. Of course, it's crazy. Yes.
Well, right. It reminded me of this one scene where Shannon like goes to the ice cream shop with these dogs, and like the one that was a puppy, it tripped her up and she dropped her ice cream and it started like eating it off the sidewalk. And she was like, no, I don't want you to get, I forget what she said. She's like, I don't want you to get bugs or get an infection. And it's like, Shannon, dogs eat their own poop. So I think it's going to be fine eating the like ice cream from a sidewalk.
Well, she was probably nervous about the dog pooping all over her house after it ate some like ice cream,
Well, I'm sure. Because that dog, while looking the sweetest, when they showed pictures of how that dog is tearing up Shannon's house, I just thought, wow, that's a commitment to love right there, because that's wild.
That's what puppies do. And the joke in our house is like, you can't leave anything, glasses, pens, or a remote. Those are Violet's 3 favorite things, and she's a criminal. And she will gingerly take your glasses off the side table, parade them in front of you to let you know, I've got these, and then go under one of her layers, like under a bed where we can't get her. And then she will fully try to take your arm off if you try to take it from her. So you have to lure her out. Again, she's trained us. You have to lure her out with like chicken or turkey, and then slam the door really quick and somebody else goes in. But anyway, I have a brand new pair of Warby Parker glasses that I just got, brand new. Mm-hmm. And it was my last pair of like distance glasses that I could like wear to drive a car. My last one, and just crunch. So they're like this on my face. They're like half on my face. So if I'm like watching TV at night, if you come up here, I literally look like that. Remember that Sonia Morgan with the glasses and the tiara and the robe? That's what I look like, except my glasses are sideways. Yes. That's what I look like.
Great visual.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not
how
cute.
I miss our Sonia Rita.
With like a glass of wine and it's not cute. Told my son, I was like, y'all don't come up here. You don't want to see what's going on up here.
You don't want to see what this looks like up here. So that is hilarious. But so today we're going to talk a little bit about Real Housewives of OC.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't a huge fan. You saw a little bit of it. I wasn't a huge fan. So we're going to touch on that a scotch. Then we're going to talk about some Real Housewives of Rhode Island drama.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Valley, which I'm like so sick of talking about because
I could talk about the Valley all day, every day. I'm their biggest fan, and they won't give me screeners, and I keep writing like, I'm a huge fan. I'm trying to get screeners. And what I think that the people of Bravo don't understand is people hate the Valley. They hate it. And so like
they hate it. You're the only one I've ever heard of being like, I love this show.
I love
they should
it.
give you screeners.
I keep
Bravo,
I'm kind
give
of like
her screeners immediately.
I'm the one out here championing this show. I'm like, I'm the one that wants to talk about it, but they won't give me screeners. But that's the story of my life. But
well, that's rude. And really, seriously, if someone's listening to this, get Mary Payne screeners because everyone hates the show.
I love it. I love every minute of it.
Okay, well, I'm interested to hear about why. But let's talk a little. Let's talk about a little bit about Real Housewives of OC first. So here's what I will say for me, because I'm wondering what your thoughts are on this. For me, I was going back and forth if I should cover this because I just think that last year how Katie Janela was treated was not fair. I think she was given short shrift in a lot of ways. And so this season, I was like, well, okay, Vicky's back. Let's see what this brings. And for me, I felt it was the same old shit.
For me, I liked how they started it with showed clips from 2006 to 2026 to show like some of the same things are being said, right? Like, but just in different, I liked that. I enjoyed the throwback. I enjoyed Heather Dubrow. Like she ate the bow off. Who does that? It's a bow off your cake.
That's right. Wait, who was that did that? What housewife was that?
It was Heather
like
who did it.
And done.
It was a guest at the party, a random guest.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't even a housewife. Okay, you're right. But yes, you're right. The flashbacks were so fun because it's like, how have we been watching this show for 20 years? Because I still feel like I'm 25 years old. So how is this possible?
Yes. Yes, but also when Vicky's in the car at the beginning and she calls Gina Keogh, I'm like, okay, is this going to be like Charlie's Angels? Like we're just going to get Gina Keogh on the phone? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it going to be like she's just going to call in? So I thought that was some foreshadowing. And I liked how he started in Mexico. And Vicky's like, I have to stay here.
Because Vicky's stranded. She's literally stranded in Mexico, which I was like, that's how you know we're in the weeds when like they're like, oh, Shannon, we're just going to fly you to Mexico to film with Vicky because she can't get out of Mexico to come film. I thought that was so hilarious.
I loved it. See, so you did like it.
Well, I liked some of it. Okay, I did like some of it. I am such like an old school housewives kind of gal. And it is like to me interesting sociologically to see like where we've come versus where we were. Here's the thing. How do you feel about Vicky? Because I really do have troubles with her. How do you feel about Vicky being back?
I like Vicky on the show as a housewives character. I have to maybe sometimes distance myself from maybe some of her problematic views. And I think we do that with a lot of people on our television, right? Like you kind of, okay, I'm watching a TV show. I got to take this TV show for what it is until it gets too egregious, right? Until like you shove your wife into a bush and throw a coffee table at her. Then you might need to go off the show. Do you know what I mean? Like if you could take somebody on your show as a personality, as a character, but with something in their personal life gets violent or the law gets involved, then you're like, okay, it's not so great. But just Vicky being on the opposite end of the political spectrum for me, I can look past it and see her as a funny housewives lady that, one time peed on somebody's bed.
And yelled about a family van. I mean, old school Vicky was hilarious. I'm glad that you brought that up because for me, it's less about politics and more about like, if you don't believe that everyone should have basic human rights, that's just a real problem for me. Like, I don't know when it became a radical thing to just believe that we should have basic human rights regardless of sexual orientation, color of our skin, race, things like that. So that's what I'm struggling with. And so I feel like this might be a mini therapy session for me Because I'm like, how do we move forward with like, I understand these housewives aren't supposed to be our moral compass, but given the state of the world and this country and where things are at, I am really having trouble navigating that. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
But I like your reframe that there were some parts of it that I enjoyed. But for me, what I did enjoy was the fact that it really was like same old thing with Tamara, kind of like making big statements on Jeff Lewis Live about how she's going to ruin everyone's life. And then like being like, oh, I was joking. And, you know, like that kind of same old stuff.
Every season with Tamara starts with her calm and she's a new Tamara. And somebody will say, you know, Tamara feels lighter. You know, she doesn't seem so angry. Every season starts that way with Tamara. It doesn't end that way, but it's just like, and it just sort of occurred to me when she walked in and Heather, they were talking about what happened to the quiet woman, blah, blah, blah. And Heather goes, Tamara just seems lighter. She seems like, I was like, did you?
Where? You're like, where?
Didn't she just talk about a horrible thing that she said to her friend, like while they were filming in public? Like, okay. Yeah. She looks good. I like the darker hair. You know?
Listen, they all, I feel like, look fabulous. You know, I'm never going to dispute that. But for people who don't know, what we are talking about is on the first episode of OC, we find out, and this was like in some of like the news and stuff like that, is that while they were filming Ultimate Girls Trip, what was it called? Roaring 20? I don't know.
Girl, I don't know. I don't know.
There's like a name for it, like Roaring something, Ultimate Girls Trip. So anyway, what happened was they were all at the Quiet Woman, which my word, the Quiet Woman owners, workers, they must have PTSD when they see Shannon and Tamara. I'm not kidding. Yeah. If you have PTSD from Shannon and Tamara ruining the Quiet Woman, please contact me. I would like to have you on the show.
And the Quiet Woman was just in the news this past week because Shannon Bedore was there with Andy, and it was a big thing because Shannon got mad because the Quiet Woman wouldn't pick up the check. And she was like, she made a thing, she got mad at like the owner was like, I've done so much for this place and you don't even pick up the check. But what happened was that the check came and then the owner came over and took it from Andy because Andy was going to pay it. Obviously, he could write it off. And Andy said, oh, but I want to make sure I am able to tip on whatever it was. So Andy was like, I had to work it out with the owner of how to tip because I didn't have any cash, blah, blah, blah. So he said, you know, I wanted to clear it up. The Quiet Woman did pick up the bill. So I don't actually know what Shannon was talking about, you know.
I mean, also for all that Shannon's done brought the drama to these people, the fact that she thinks that she's done them a favor, like, that to me, that's a wild level of entitlement. Wild. That
people would never know about this place if it wasn't for me.
It's like, girl, please don't drink the Kool-Aid, okay? But what happened was, so Tamara and Shannon again got into this fight where Tamara said to Shannon, and I quote, "You're a mess," like meaning an alcoholic. "You can't get a man and you don't own a house." That's what she said to Shannon.
All of it's true, but it's not nice.
But also, here's my beef with this whole you don't have a man stuff.
Right.
Why do women make men the center of our fucking universe? That somehow that's an insult to not have a man, especially when Tamara knows what Shannon's been through with some of her dysfunctional and tumultuous relationships.
Yes.
I just personally, I'm the type of person that if I had a friend that ever said something like that to me, I would never speak to them again.
I don't understand how any of these people film with each other year after the things they say to each other and they just gloss it over and keep going. I'm just like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I think these are unique circumstances, right? Where they're filming a show. And so it's like with the Valley, like these people don't like each other. They're not really friends, but like you're filming, it is kind of unique circumstances. I fully understand why Shannon is like, you are not a friend to me if these are the things you say when you get upset, you know?
Yes, true.
And I totally fully understand that. And I love what you just said about Tamara too. Like, you're totally right. Every season, she like won't scream the first episode and people are like, oh, Tamara's calmer. And again, I laugh. I'm like, where is she calmer? Because a couple months ago, she caused such a scene. One of the things that Heather said in this episode was that the other wives were really disgusted by Tamara's behavior. She didn't use those terms verbatim, but
she said they were, basically they were horrified and they had never seen anything like it. I'm like, these are housewives. And they said they've never seen anything like it. It must have been really bad because these ladies have done some shit themselves. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
But that's why I thought it's so interesting that it's like, so a group of housewives who are just like feral, because that's what you have to be a housewife. They thought this was a bridge too far. Well, then that must have been insane, is I guess where I'm
So
going
guess what? Now we're all going to watch it. And it worked.
That's right. That's right. And it did. Because now I will watch the Ultimate Girls Trip because I want to see this thing. And again, part of me is like, are producers encouraging them to hype up this incident because they want people to tune into the show? Right. So it's like, you can't trust truth when it comes to OC, in my opinion.
I think it's hilarious that Heather Dubrow is still in the OC and she wants to be Beverly Hills so bad. I think it's so funny that they won't give it to her.
I know.
So funny.
Because Heather Dubrow, she gets what she wants.
Yeah.
And I do find it so wild. Here's my private theory is that behind the scenes, they were like, well, if you want to switch franchises, you have to like make this work for an X number of whatever, and then we can transition you. That's my theory, but who knows? Also, do you think Heather Dubrow would fit in with Beverly Hills? Like, do you think she'd be a great fit there?
Yeah. I think she'd be perfect. She's got the snobbiness, the look at me, the look what I have. She's very much about things, I think, I think she'd be great. And her husband's a plastic surgeon. I mean,
right. And they have real money. Like
real money. Yes.
Which, by the way, so one of the interesting things that happened this episode was that, well, number one, we see Heather's mom, who is kind of, in my opinion, the definition of like a narcissistic mother.
Okay, so I didn't get that far. I only got 30 minutes in, so tell me what happened.
Okay, so Heather met with her mom and was basically like, confronted her. Because now, here's the thing. All of these kids, by the way, I feel elderly because these children are literally full-blown adults. Like, all of the kids are just grown humans. And I was like, when did this happen? And why do I feel 100 years old? So what Heather was saying to her mom is because her kids are now grown. So Ace, her son, is the only one still in the home. Because
Ace is like 9th or 10th grade, though?
Yeah, I want to say 10th.
Yeah.
Maybe. So
a lot younger than the other ones, yeah.
Yes. So the other ones are out of the house. Ace is the only one left. And so like that changes the dynamics. And so what Heather was talking to her mom about is like her mom didn't ever come and visit, and she didn't spend a lot of time with Heather or her children. And so Heather kind of confronted her mom about that and was trying to like get her to give her something. And her mom is just like not capable. And her mom literally said, I don't regret anything. And then blamed Heather for, you should have taken your 4 children and come here to visit us. And you didn't do that. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think with the few times we've seen her mom was a piece of work. And then, of course, there was maybe it was last season, I can't remember, when she spread her dad's ashes in Amsterdam. I think she was very close to her dad, and then he died. And now she's stuck with this bitch,
Right.
Yeah,
and it's like, that also makes grief really hard. I'm experiencing that right now, where it's like when you lose your person and then you look at what's left and you're like, oh shit, this is not good. I feel like I feel for Heather. And so to me, that was like one of the only worthwhile things about discussing with this episode. But the other thing is that Jen Pedrante's son, so she has 4 sons, 3 older ones and a younger one who is, I think, 12.
Yeah, and a daughter.
Okay. And so not the 12-year-old, but the one who's older than that. I think his name is Grayson. And I apologize because I was kind of watching it, like not super paying attention. I'm going to be honest.
There's a Grayson and there's a Harrison, but I don't know which is the one that got the ticket and then which is the one
I think
that's
Grayson
12.
it might have been.
Okay.
I think Grayson, but I could be wrong. And so he got a speeding ticket and he was driving 105 miles an hour, which is like what makes me scared about that. And I'm glad that Jen and her ex-husband are dealing with it because he's lucky that he didn't die or hurt somebody else.
Right.
Because especially where they live, those windy roads and all
Yes.
of that, that is just a recipe for a problem. And so I like the seriousness that Jen took with it because that's like a red flag behavior.
Mhm.
However, recently on social media, Jen posted, I will read it. I would like to clear up the rumblings of my son having involvement in the Ladera Ranch fire. He and others were involved. My ex-husband and myself take this very serious. This behavior is unacceptable and we are deeply sorry to our community. This is a tough learning moment for our son and our family. She said, we were so thankful. There was no property damage and nobody was hurt. The fire and police were absolutely amazing and gave these boys a lesson they will never forget. There were no arrests made, but consequences for actions are being put in place. He will be taking a fire safety course to make sure a mistake like this never happens again. There are consequences within our family, and we will make sure our son learns from this accident.
Okay, so Grayson is the 16-year-old that got that speeding ticket, and Dominic is the 12-year-old.
And is the 12-year-old the one who started the fire? We don't know who started the fire.
We don't know. And I heard another podcaster talking about this that lives in that area and was like, it's obviously for the people that live there could not be more upsetting because of what happened with the Palisades fire. Like 7,000 people lost their homes and people obviously died and terrible. And this particular fire did burn some acreage, but no homes, no loss of life. But it doesn't matter because that's
right.
That's generally the outcome if you start a fire in these dry areas. And you can imagine that this particular, petty crime of a kid in a community like that has been ravaged by fires would hit home and be like even 10 times more embarrassing than your kid speeding. Do you know what I mean? And I think
for sure. Yeah.
I think that I'm glad that she just put it out there. Like there's a rumor that my kid was involved. My kid was involved. And she didn't try to say the other kids were the ringleaders. My kid was a follower. Because her kid could have been the ringleader. If I had to guess, and I do not know, this seems more of like something a 12-year-old would do than a 16-year-old would do. A 16-year-old is out like speeding and chasing girls, and 12-year-olds are out like fucking around with fire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but either way, she's had it rough with her kids, and I appreciate her thoughtful post. Was like, it is true, it did happen. All we can do is give our child consequences. Like, don't you worry, he's being punished and has to take a fire safety course and all that thing. And another reason I think is the 12-year-old, and again, I have no idea. It's complete alleged and speculation, is because it's something that you could get a 12-year-old to take a fire safety class. It just sounded like a young crime. Because, I mean, honestly, if it was the 16 or 17-year-old, they could have been tried as an adult in some places, right?
Oh, of course. And but the reason I'm wondering about it is because like Jen and her ex, they went through a lot of tough stuff, and kids act out when they experience feelings that they're having trouble processing, right? They act out. And so I have a lot of empathy for everything that this family has been through.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to look online right now to see if we can figure this out because she did not specify.
Yeah. And the podcaster I heard talking about it was sort of like, definitely is obviously one of these younger two, because the older one's in the Marines and one lives in Singapore or something. She said, like has graduated. Then there's the daughter and then there's the two sons at home.
Okay. So it says Padranti did not identify which of her children was involved. So she has a son, Harrison, 22, Dawson, 19, Grayson, 16. He was the one who got the speeding ticket. Dominic, 12, and a daughter, Everly, 14. So, yes. Okay. So we don't know, but either way, I'm glad she came out with it. But of course, there are lots of folks talking about privilege and lack of real consequences and things like that. And so that's
why I think it's the 12-year-old, because it's a slap on the wrist. If it was a group of 16-year-old boys that did something like this, I feel like there would be more like arrests and things like that.
Right.
That's
either way.
Either way, it's terrible.
And that does, right. Either way, it's terrible. I'm glad that nobody was hurt. But seriously, going back to PTSD, the people in that area, that must have brought about, I'm serious, very serious PTSD.
Yeah.
Because fire it destroys people's lives
Yeah.
in like California and things like that. It is no joke. And I'm glad that they're addressing it. So as we know more, I will talk about this more. But let us move on. I am desperate to hear Mary Payne share what you are liking about the Valley. No judgment. Just I just giggle. Please share with me because I really value your perspective.
I'm loving Michelle. I love that Michelle is being more forthright with her feelings about Jesse and how she's really grieving the marriage, because the last couple of seasons, she's like, I fucking hate this guy. Get him out of my house. I hate him. And now she's sort of on the other side of it where she's actually grieving the loss of it, seeing how he can be with another woman, loving and sweet. And that's what she always wanted. I think that's fascinating. I think Lacey kind of having a redemption arc and her just being so mean to Jesse. I love that.
Oh my God. I do. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I love that. Lacey reading Jesse for filth and just being like, you will not speak to women like this. I will destroy your life. Like, I'm like, yes, I love Lacey. Her and Lala to me are making this like salvageable.
Yeah. This last episode where Lala calls Danny a Peter Pocket instead of a Polly Pocket, it was pretty good. Because Polly Pocket is one of my favorite things to say. Like there's like, because here I'm at the beach and there's a lot of alligators. There's this little one that's always in the pond and we call it Polly Pocket because it's a little baby alligator. So Polly Pocket is one of my favorite things to say. And we should call him Peter Pocket. It just touched my heart.
And a Peter Pocket motherfucker at that, by the way, which I was like, yes, girl, read that man for filth.
He is, every episode he gets worse. Not at one point does he say, wow, I can see why people think I'm a complete dick when I drink. I mean, never once. And as you know, I have a husband that's a recovering alcoholic, and all of these behaviors are just like ding, 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 ding. All of these behaviors are just so spot on of somebody who's hiding their drinking. They have their spouse standing in front of them trying to protect them. But
they're claiming they're not drinking while holding a tequila.
Literally saying, I didn't drink at that party. And then ding, they show him pouring Tito's into a cup. She went on Watch What Happens Live, and Andy was like, well, there was the thing at Zach's party, and then there was the thing with the White Claw hidden in the bathroom. And she goes, no, that was a different party. At that party, we were all playing beer pong, and we were all having a great time, and we were all drinking White Claws. And he goes, that's the party where you went upstairs with the White Claw. And she goes, no, it's a different party. I was like, no, girl, it wasn't. Same party.
We have this on camera. But here's what bothers me about that. It's like, Nia, to stay married in this situation, you have to do one of two things, right? As you know, dealing with someone who was in active addiction and now is in recovery, you either have to be codependent and accept that this is what it is, or you say you change or we get divorced. But Nia's never going to do that. And listen, I don't hope that their family breaks up. I hope that Danny does better for his family. But as you're saying, every episode, it's getting worse and worse. And like, what's so wild to me, because I told you this before we started recording, is that I sincerely, when I post about the Valley, I have had to block more people in the last couple weeks over Danny fucking Bucco. All women, by the way, all women.
Taking up for him?
Yes.
Okay.
Sticking up for Danny and saying that Janet is a liar. And I was like, we don't do that here.
Let's point it out. Point out where she's a liar. I'd love to see it. Love to see where she's lied. I haven't seen it.
I know. But like, I literally have had to block probably 25 people every time I post about the Valley, which I haven't had to do since I started doing this over 3 years ago.
I don't get that. Janet, like anybody that's watched reality shows for long enough, we know that there's somebody is up and then they're down and then they're up and they have a redemption and blah, blah, blah. This is her redemption, but everything she has said is right.
Right.
Everything she has said is right. Everything that she has seen, everything that she has been triggered by, everything that she's like, when you grab somebody's ass, that is sexual assault. It is.
Right.
Should she have said that? Probably not. Bad choice of words, but she wasn't lying. That is what it is. Well,
right. What's frustrating is that she's getting more flack for talking about what Danny did than Danny's getting for doing what he did,
100%.
Does, and continues to do. And that is like insane. But let's talk about this for a second because
he's so angry. He's such an angry little troll at that bar when he keeps going, Oh, no, I can't dance because I make people uncomfortable. Oh, but look at her. She's making me uncomfortable. He kept, and I'm just saying this, I've just seen this drunken behavior so much where you harp on one thing, say it over and over and over and over because I'm the victim. Everybody's against me and the world is against me. And why can't you all see it? And it's just so textbook alcoholic behavior that I would say I want to get my husband to watch it and then be like, yep. But it would be triggering, but it would be triggering to him too, to be like,
sure.
Nobody wants to see somebody act like that and know that they also used to act like that. Like,
right. Because then
horrible.
that's a source of like shame and pain and stuff. And it's like, I want Danny to be better and do better for himself. I want him to be happy.
He has 4 children.
That's right. But what's so crazy to me, so what you're talking about is that's where I use the term king baby, where, it's like these men who struggle with addiction or misuse of substances or alcohol. They are the center of the universe. It's all about them. It's woe is me.
Yes.
And then they do, like, the name for it clinically is perseveration. So when you're over focusing on one thing over and over and over, like you can't let it, that's what he's doing. Like a king baby perseveration, over focusing on things that he's created, right? He's sitting at the bar drinking alone. Nia's going up to the room and he's complaining about how Janet's his problem. And it's like, who's going to tell this man that you are your own problem?
And it's my birthday and I'm by myself. Oh, great birthday. And I'm like, everything is about him. He is so self-centered. It was interesting too at the beginning of this current episode when they get on the boat and they have the baby and they have the nanny there. And she says to him, she goes, I think this will probably be a good quiet place for the baby, meaning with the nanny. And he goes, yeah, it's fine. And she goes, I'm checking in with you. They use a lot of therapy talk, right? I'm checking in with you.
Yeah.
I want to know if you agree with me that this is a great place for the baby. And like, he's like, we're on a boat. There's probably only 2 choices, this or the bathroom. So like, sure, it's fine. And she does a lot of that. She does a lot of therapy speak. And then when he's in any kind of confrontation with anybody, the way that she comes over and is like, look at me, focus on me. Don't fight with her. Look, she's trying so hard to get him out of whatever's about to happen.
That's called fawning. So that's a trauma response called
I've been there.
Fawning.
I've been there. Like, let's leave. Let's get out of this before it gets worse, or you embarrass yourself or embarrass me. Like, let's go. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Danny has become Nia's emotional thermostat. And what she's doing is a trauma response of fawning, which is fawning and codependency means like she feels she's responsible for making sure Danny doesn't get elevated.
Yep.
And I want to be real clear that the only person responsible for that is Danny Bucco.
Right.
So I worry that like he said something to Nia about don't talk to me like that, don't elevate me.
Yes.
And I thought, whatever person, whoever told that troll that that's an appropriate thing to say, because Nia was just like, oh, you're right. And I was like, no, I'm like yelling at the TV. I was like, no.
Yeah, because the more he's saying to her, like, you're going to make it worse. You're about to make it worse. Right. And then she's like, oh, you're right. I'm like, fuck off. I don't care if I make it worse. You need to go home. Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly right. But Nia is so scared of his. And listen, I felt for Nia, but truly in this episode, I realized that she is as much a part of the problem as he is.
She is.
And honestly, she's pretty mean. I'm going to be honest. Everyone's like, oh, she's so nice. And it's like, but if you listen to the words that she's saying and you look at the things that she's doing. So when Danny is fighting with Lala, she's literally playing codependency dodgeball where she's just trying to take the hits from Lala so Danny doesn't freak out. I mean, that's so unhealthy. But Lala is like calling out this dynamic. So Danny's calling Lala psychotic again, saying, you don't have a husband, which is like, I'd rather live in a van down by the river than have a husband like Danny. I'll tell you what.
Right. And by the way, not for nothing, if Lala wanted a husband, it'd be pretty easy for her to just go out and get a sugar daddy.
Sure
she doesn't
would.
want one. She had this baby by herself. Listen, there's no world 5 years ago you could have told me that I would have been like, Lala is the savior that we need. But she really is doing the work on this show to be like,
she is.
And I think her whole thing is like, I want the best for Nia and she can't see it. But by the way, just speaking from experience, none of this is going to change his behavior. none of what Nia is doing is going to change his behavior. None of his friends calling him out. And then Jesse to be like, if anybody comes for you, I'm going to stand up for you. You should be able to drink what you want. I'm like,
okay,
none of this is helping. And none of this is going to fix it.
And you know what's sad? Because people like you and me realize, and this is what frustrates me when people come in my comments, people never consider for 1 second that I understand what's happening here. And people who either are family members, in recovery, therapists, whatever, we're seeing something that the average person might not be seeing. And that's true. What's so crazy to me.
For me, it's lived experience. And it's
right.
And I think anybody that hasn't been in this kind of situation is just watching it, I would think can just see that she's protecting him and Lala's trying to call it out. And sure, the guy should be able to go to a party and drink and other people drink and whatever, but not when he's got such a problem and he hides and he lies and then he inappropriately touches people and speaks to people the wrong way. Then no, actually, now you've lost your right to party. Well,
right, and the fact is that not all people can drink recreationally. Like if he could drink recreationally, he would. And so his behaviors is telling us something, but take the drinking out of it for a moment. The way that this man talks to his wife and women is so beyond abusive. It's actually insane. And all the people who defend him are women, by the way. Every single one of them. I've never had a man be like, you know what, that Danny, he's all right. It's all women.
You mean the people in your comments that are defending him are women?
Yes.
They must all go to his church. I don't know who they who are these people?
Yeah. I know. It's so insane. But like the way that he speaks to women, the way that he speaks to Nia, the way that he just treats humans in general, it's just, there's a saying in the program of AA, you spot it, you got it. And there's some very, very telltale signs here that shouldn't be ignored. But, I guess like some people think he's charming. I don't understand exactly how, why, where, or what. Some people
give me an example. I'd give me one example on this program that we have seen him be charming to anyone.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, even a wait staff, just anybody. Just give me an example of charming.
Yeah.
Can I get a White Claw? Can I get another White Claw? That's not charming. But
by the way, did you catch that? He said he didn't drink White Claws and then like that's all he drinks. You know what I mean?
When did he say I don't drink White Claws? Because he drinks them constantly.
I know. Remember when Andy on Watch What Happens Live, he was questioning her about like him drinking the White Claw or whatever. She's like, he doesn't even drink those. That's what she said. And we were like,
roll the tape.
So
roll the tape.
Roll the footage. Roll that beautiful bean footage. I mean, it's just like, it's so crazy. But when you live, listen, when you live in denial, you have to stay in this tunnel, this echo chamber of it's fine. Because I think she doesn't want things to fall apart. But
she knows it's not fine. She knows it's not fine. When she came up and said to the babysitter, like, pray for me, like, she knows it's not fine. She's dealing with a terrible situation in her own home and has 4 kids and a full-time job. And 2 of those kids are like supporting the whole family, being on Young Sheldon. So like, she knows it's not fine.
Are they really?
Yeah, the twins.
2 of her kids are on Young Sheldon?
The twins play a baby that's on Young Sheldon.
Get out! I watched Young Sheldon. I didn't know that.
There's a baby on that show, and that's the twins.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, so let's talk a little bit about the whole, because one of the things I wanted to clear up, Janet had talked about her history of sexual assault. So God. I will offer a trigger warning. And so one thing that I wanted to say about that is she said a couple of things that clinically I just wanted to clarify is that Janet was like, I froze and let it happen. That's what she said. But a therapist helped her understand like the full scope of sexual assault, which I think this is rich context for why that's what she'd called it, what Danny did, because technically it does fall under that. Sure. Did he penetrate someone? No. But there are other ways that sexual assault occurs. And so I think because that's Janet's story, she basically said that she was like in school. I don't know how old she was. I think maybe it was about 12 years old, something like that, where a friend put hands on her. She froze. The way that she explained it, what I wanted to explain is that she was experiencing the freeze response, which is an involuntary survival mechanism that immobilizes the body when it perceives danger. So it's because there's a lot of women who watched this and are like, oh, this is me too.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of blame and shame around it because it's like, well, why didn't I do this or why didn't I do that? And it's biology. It's not willpower.
Mhm.
It's our prefrontal cortex in situations like this, it goes down and then the limbic system takes over and it's basically like an e-brake for your nervous system. And so this is the importance too of teaching children about enthusiastic consent, right? Because it's not, consent isn't just the absence of no, it's also the presence of an enthusiastic yes.
Okay.
And so I just wanted to explain a little bit for the folks listening that if that was your experience, it's biological. There's no shame. There's no blame there. And because I feel for Janet, because there were people that tried to come into my comments and be like, she's making it up. And I was like, you're blocked. You don't belong here because
Making it up? What?
Yeah.
Why are people crazy? I don't understand.
Well, how much time do you have, Mary?
I mean-
Because I can tell you why.
I mean, that's sort of the point of your podcast, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
literally, in all sincerity, it's women projecting their shit
Mhm.
onto Janet, onto Danny. They take their stuff, they haven't worked on it, or they have worked on it, but it's still unresolved, which again, that's okay. We're all work in progress. But it's all about projecting our pain and then how that gets expressed sometimes as wacky. It's
Mhm.
wacky. That's what I'll
Yeah,
say.
I didn't like her story. Made me really sad. I didn't hear it as she was that young in my mind. And again, I could have been hearing what I wanted to hear from my own personal experience with a situation like this in high school.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
I heard it was more of like a high school thing, and she thought she indicated no, but this guy had his way with her, and then she later told her mom what happened, and it wasn't, consent and all that. That's sort of how I heard it. And maybe, again, that's just me projecting my own self onto it. When she said in school, I thought high school. It doesn't matter if she
And
was
that
12 or
could-
25. I
right,
don't.
Right. Right. I've seen various things floating around the internet, whether it was high school or 12. But either way, to your point, it doesn't matter how old you are. Something like that, when it happens, you're a survivor. I'm a survivor as well. And
Something
so
happened
I,
to her, and she's trying to explain, hey, this is why I'm
Right.
never going to say sorry to this guy for using those words. Because
Correct.
technically, that is what he did. If you grab somebody who does it
without their consent.
without their
Yes.
consent, who seems like, don't touch me like that, dude, then
Mhm.
that's awful. And I'm surprised that Jasmine's fiance, I mean, she never speaks or anything. She's just definitely a background character. But I'm surprised she's even around. She definitely never speaks to him because she was the one that was
Definitely.
grabbed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. And what I found was so gross. So Jesse, it's like Jesse can have superficial charm, but
Yes.
then
Now
he
that I
does
can see.
things.
That I can see. Yes.
He does have superficial charm, but then he does things like this where Janet's talking to him, trying to your point, tell the group, this is why I reacted like this, because I was projecting my pain, which is what I've said all along. She's like, this happened to me. And when she explained it, Jesse was basically like, oh, well, if you had just explained it like that, it would have been different. And it's like, this is what makes me rage about men and rape culture. Rape culture is like this idea that there's a perfect victim, that, women have to say the right thing, explain the right thing. They have to, we have to do all these things to protect ourselves. And then when we are assaulted, we have to explain ourselves and be the perfect victim. And so Jesse inadvertently stepped in a pile of my shit in terms of you are the problem with this society, because why does Janet have to prove to you that
Right.
she's victim enough to be upset with Danny? You know what I mean?
How about just this is what Danny did? It has nothing to do with anything else other than this is what he did and this is what I called it. And I don't have to
Right.
tell you why. It's just
That's
a textbook example of what it was. I do feel that when she was so upset and she got heightened and she used the term sexual assault, I think that probably it was like a drunken thing on a boat and maybe she didn't need to say that. And it could have been a quieter conversation at a different time to explain it. However, she's not wrong. And again, I don't always like her approach, but she's not wrong. She's correct in what she
Right.
said. And I kind of
Right.
feel like justice for Janet. Let's
Agreed. Justice for Janet. She does not deserve all the smoke that she's getting. I understand if people don't like her. That's one thing. But to doubt her truthfully sharing her experience about being assaulted, please respectfully, No, I'm sorry, disrespectfully fuck off. Because I cannot with that. And I think that with Janet, it's like what I appreciated is she owned the fact that she's like, I understand that I projected onto Jasmine and I projected onto Danny and that I went about things the wrong way.
Right.
And again, that is real accountability. Real accountability is saying like, okay, I will personally die on the hill that what Danny did falls under the umbrella of sexual assault and using the term, there's nothing wrong with that. We should be more mad at what he did. However, I understand where people are saying that's a delicate term and she could have went about that differently, which she even agreed with. She's like, I could have gone about that differently.
Yes.
So we're mad at Janet, who's sharing her story about sexual assault, saying how it led her to project her pain and how it led her to understand that she should have done things different, and people are hating on Janet. Please make that make sense to me.
The conversation between Janet and Lala, I thought was so touching because I think, no matter what you think about Lala, I think she was genuinely just listening and taking it in. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. She wasn't saying anything other than that, which is what Janet needed. Janet just needed to tell somebody and have someone receive it and just say, wow, I'm so sorry that happened to you, and just hear the story. And Lala shed a tear, of which I was like, wow. And none of that seemed performative to me. And I think now Lala's going to go triple hard at Danny, which I love.
So do I.
Yeah.
I will tell you, the one thing that makes me gleeful about the show is watching Lala eat these men for a snack, because they are terrified of her.
Yeah. Yes,
terrified,
they are.
as they should be. Like when Lala sat down and Jesse tried to like intimidate her and be like, you don't belong here. She was like, please, bitch.
He goes, what are you doing? We're having a conversation. She goes, right. So I'm sitting down because we're having a conversation.
Yeah. She's like, I'm here and I'm not leaving. And I'm not going to shut my mouth. And I'm like, you fucking go, Lala.
We're filming a show and you're new here. So shut up. I've been doing this for 15 years. Yeah. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Jesse went on Watch What Happens Live. And of course, he like insulted Lala saying that she's a pro. And it's like, well, she is a pro. And she ate you for breakfast and lunch and dinner. So,
and Lacey was probably like, yeah.
Oh, I know.
She hates him.
Lacey. Lacey was just like, hell yeah, girl. Eat him up. But Danny literally looks scared of Lala, and that does bring me joy. It really does. Because, and here's what I appreciate about Lala, and also shows how much women hate other women, is that people were talking about Lala being aggressive, and I'm like, y'all, Lala was calm. She was assertive. She was well-spoken. She said no lies.
Yeah.
All truth and facts. And you're going to say that she's aggressive in favor of supporting Danny? Please, everyone go to therapy.
She's the only one sober there. She is the only one there that is not on any type of substance at all. Right. And so she's actually the most clear-headed. She doesn't have a hangover. She hadn't smoked any weed, like nothing. So she's actually the most clear-headed one there,
That's right. And what I appreciate about Lala is that even though she is eating Danny up, she's also trying to say, listen, I'm in recovery for 7 years and my life depends on my accountability.
Yeah.
And I literally clapped when she said that, because for people who have the disease of addiction, accountability is what saves lives. Yeah. Because denial is deadly. And what Jesse is doing with Danny, if Danny does indeed have an addiction issue, because I can't judge that, what Jesse's doing could be deadly. Like there's saying in the program about like, if you want to be codependent, you could love somebody to death. And we don't want to love people to death that we love. And so I just think Lala is, and this is why I love people in recovery. They're my favorite humans, because when they just like are self-aware, self-actualized, work on their stuff, like working steps or whatever you do in recovery, it's just like working on yourself and being accountable and owning your stuff and changing your behavior. And it's like, what is bad about any of that? To me, all those people are rock stars. Everyone listening to this in recovery, rock stars.
Agree. I'm living with somebody coming up on 12 years. Coming up on 12 years sober, my husband. Yeah, it's amazing. And it can happen. It can I never would have thought. I mean, I say it to him all the time, like never thought it would happen. And like I'm stunned every day still. Like it's amazing. It's like it's really hard, and it's for anybody in recovery. Like
Yeah.
Keep going. Like it's great. Yeah.
It's worth it. It's the hardest thing you're ever going to do, but it's worth it. And I promise there's freedom on the other side because what we're watching with Danny is shackles.
You're right.
He's not, it's shackles. So before we wrap, the one thing I do want to check in with you about is Real Housewives of Rhode Island.
Just when I loved it. Damn it.
Yeah. So I talked a little bit about this on my bite-sized Bish, but unfortunately what has come to...
Wait, I need you to back up.
Yeah.
What is bite-sized Bish? That is the cutest thing I've ever heard in my life. I might have to start using that instead of Polly Pocket.
Well, so bite-sized Bish is what I call my shorter podcasts.
Okay.
So
I love it. I love that.
Yeah, so when I do like a 20-minute, like, because I'll do an hour or more. If I do like a 20 to 30-minute podcast, I call it a bite-sized Bish. Yeah.
I love it so much. That's so cute. Okay.
Thank you.
Continue.
Yeah, it just like came in my brain and I was like, I think this is adorable and I'm sticking with it.
I love that so much. Okay, go ahead. I had just had to know. That's so cute.
No, that's okay. Yes, and feel free to use it at your leisure.
I will.
So what happened is that we found out that unfortunately Joe Ellen and Rula have liked so I'll just explain this. So Donald Trump Jr. posts a lot of really homophobic, transphobic things.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to someone on X or Twitter, whatever you call it. The username is Sutton Stroller, and I thought that's hilarious. Sutton Stroller.
I tried to look at that too. I was like, is it Sutton's Troller?
Right.
Or Sutton's Stroller.
Actually, that's a great point. They may be a troll of Sutton. I have no idea. But either way, it's like such a cute username.
I was like, somebody's a troller or a stroller. I couldn't.
Yeah. Good point, Mary Payne. Yeah.
Either way, I'm a slut and I've got the shirt and everything.
So what happened was this account found that Joellen and Rula liked multiple posts, and there's like too many to even mention, to be honest, but I want to share that I have verified that these are real because what happened was this account went, because on Donald Trump Jr.'s like his social media, which I've literally never gone on, so I don't know. They like it's from 2023, and I know someone who personally went to that account, looked for themselves, screenshotted it. This is not AI. This is not a joke. And I need to say that because sometimes you just never know. And if I didn't know the person who did this specifically, I'd be like, you just never know. But I'm telling you, I know that it was like, one was a post making fun of a trans person, like comparing them to like this Jim Carrey character where he dresses up like a very unattractive looking woman, liking things that talks about how people who are trans, they're like ugly and they have no personality. And Rula liked something that said, Mother's Day is for mothers, not men in dresses. And
so she liked that, or she wrote that.
She liked it.
Okay.
She liked it. So all of these posts, yes, to clarify, were Donald Trump Jr. He posted them and then they liked them.
Okay.
So with Joellen, she liked probably 15 or so of the most heinous. Oh, another one was about...
So 15 or so is not an accident.
Oh, no.
Okay,
no.
okay,
This is no accident. This was no whoopsie doodles.
Okay.
Another one was, it was like a comparison of like Memorial Day or Veterans Day, how veterans get one day, but Pride is a whole month, and that's not fair or gross or something. So whatever. I have posted this on my social media. I will post to my Patreon. They are really gross, so just don't ingest them if you don't want to. But for me, I don't know where I go from here with RHORI because, again, what we talked about at the beginning, where it's like, I understand that these people aren't supposed to be like our moral compass, but there's a difference between political differences and being a hateful bigot. There's differences.
And that's sort of like, we go back to the Gretchen Rossi thing too, right? It's like posting and reposting and liking, and her just sort of being like, my social media person did it, or it was an accident. And then you're like, well, after like 20 or 30 of these, it's not an accident. And your social media person is not going in on your behalf and liking political things. Your
Right.
social media person is trying to like get you a brand deal or post a pretty picture, so none of that's true. I don't think Joellen has said Rula, I just could give a fuck about, right? Like I think she's stupid and I don't care. But Joellen, I'm more upset about because I love her so much.
Yeah.
And because
That's
she was
how
the
a lot
one,
of people feel.
she's bringing the receipts. Like she's a great housewife. I love a housewife that'll troll a court record. Like I love
Right.
it. And so
Right.
that to me is hard. And I don't believe she's made any sort of statement like,
She has not.
I did
She
feel
has
this
not
way
made
and
a
I
statement.
regret it or anything. Yeah.
No, because what I'll tell you, and listen, I have almost 30,000 followers, but that's a small account at the end of the day. That is a small account. So I reached some people, but people tagged her, they tagged Bravo Andy, all these things. Nothing. No response. And I think that Joellen is just hoping that because I'm a small account and because some of these other accounts are smaller, that she just doesn't even have to say anything. And for me, I'm not the type of person who's going to let this go. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen.
But Melissa, I've heard huge accounts and huge podcasts talking about this. And by the way, you're not a small account, but what I'm saying is I've heard people with 5 times that much talking about this on their shows and on their social media. So it's not just like a little group of people that's like talking about it. Like it's
right.
Like I heard Heather McDonald talking about it on Juicy Scoop, and that's a really big podcast.
Yep.
So do you know what I mean? And not just Heather, but I've heard other people talking about it. So I do think it is going to get some legs. Matter of fact, when I saw it, you posted it or somebody, and I sent it to my friend Gibson Johns, who's a gay man who has a podcast, very well known in the Bravo verse. And I sent it to him and I said, this is why we can't have nice things. Like, this is why we can't like a new show. We can't like new people. Like, it's so upsetting. He was like, this is so upsetting to me. And he's like, sometimes in this job, you have to compartmentalize and it's really, really hard.
Yeah. And that is what I'm having a hard time with. Because I understand that reality TV is garbage. I get that. Like this thing we love, there's pros and cons, right? I understand that.
Yeah.
But again, for me, it's like I do feel so disappointed and upset. Now, this was in 2023 before she was on the show, but it's like those views aren't changeable unless you do a lot of work on yourself. And it requires ownership and it requires accountability. And then like, what are you going to do different moving forward? And I just don't see her doing any of that. So I'll be very interested to see. And I'm glad to hear other people are talking about it, by the way.
Yeah,
so I'm glad to hear that. I am. Because it was like, to me, the best new franchise ever to come out of Bravo. Right.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, Mary Payne, I have to tell you this. So after, you're going to love this, after I posted about the post, I literally took screenshots or whatever. Guess who started following me? Liz McGraw. Liz.
R.I.P.
Girl, I'm scared. I was scared. I was like, what have I written about Liz? What have I said? Because I am very scared of her. And now she follows me.
So maybe she and her husband are in the mafia, allegedly. I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm like, but the word has it that Liz, despite some of her issues, she does not espouse these values like at all. She's an ally and things like that. And so
you would think so. She's in the weed business. She's friends with Dolores. I mean, all signs point to she would be a good time. I mean, she does have obviously an anger issue, but it really is hard. It really is hard. And I really want, I don't care if it's a PR crafted statement. I just want Joellen to put out something saying she deeply regrets it. She's going to try to educate herself, just something. And even if it's a PR bullshit, that will make me feel a little better.
I agree. Because if not, that will inform my decision. It really will. And I, like you said, and people wrote this in the comments too, this is why we can't have nice things. I was so gung-ho about this show. And now I feel like my balloon is deflated. My soul is deflated. But fortunately, like they're filming already for season 2, so we get a little bit of a break. And
but hopefully this will be a part of the season, right? Where it'll be like, how they always have the women like, ooh, did you see this? And then they have to like call, like Joellen, we saw on our phone. You know what I mean?
Let's just hope it's not. I mean, I would assume they would use other accounts, but I don't want to see this face on Rhode Island. I don't want to.
I'm going to die if like your Bish therapist says.
No, please don't do me like that, Bravo. Don't do me like that.
Well, you get more followers. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
It would be a wild situation. But anyway, so before we wrap though, anything else about Rory? I mean, I know we didn't get to talk about it a ton, but anything else that we didn't get to cover that you wanted to say about Rory?
I just want to say that just like I brought you around to OC, I think I brought you around to understand why the Valley is so good.
You might have.
We're learning things. We're learning things on this show. Like it's like 90 Day Fiance on the Learning Channel. We're just learning things. On the Valley, we are learning about misogynistic, alleged alcoholic Peter Pockets. Like we're learning. And we're learning about postpartum, and we're learning about how hard it is when you have a baby. Like we're learning. And I think that this age group, this is what happens when you're that age and you can't party like you used to. And some people are having babies and other people are choosing to have babies alone. And I don't know. I just think it is such a snapshot into that time in your life where everybody's sort of in a dip. I don't know. I'm like bringing it all back to the Valley is a great show.
I get it. I respect it. This is why I love podcasting with you, because you do bring like it does make me think. I think now what I'm realizing, because my therapist told me that I need to stop self-analyzing because I'm not doing a good job of it. She fucking roasted me. She goes, "You're fired. Let me do this work."
Is your therapist Lala?
I mean, basically, because that's like the accountability level I have, where I go to my therapist and she will literally roast the shit out of me, and I'll be like, "I love this. Thank you."
Okay, good. Okay, good.
That's the kind of relationship that we have. But I think that like the analyzation of it is so fascinating. But what I'm mixing up in my head also is the fact that like when I post about this on social media, I actually cringe. I like brace for impact and I have to police my social media all day. And that's the part I don't like. So I think you're right. Maybe the show I'm finding interesting for my purposes, the fandom is exhausting me. But that's an important distinction to make.
I get it.
And you've helped me make it. So thank you, Mary Payne. Okay. All right. Well, what a way to end the pod. So Mary Payne, please tell everybody where they can find you, promote what you got going on, because you are cooking, girl.
So I have a podcast. It's called Pink Shade. I put out, I don't know, six, seven. Got to do it every time. 6, 7 shows a week. I cover all the 90-day franchises. I cover Love After Lockup. We're doing a rewatch of the best show ever to be on television that I've told you about. Welcome to Plathville. That's over on Prime. Covering a horrible show called This Is Poly, about polyamorous relationships. And first 4 episodes, it's great. And by the 5th one, I was like, why? Why? And so now we're just hate watching it. And so that's fun for everybody. I'm going to be covering a new show on WeTV called Age Inappropriate, where people are like, as a 20-year-old and a 50-year-old. And so that'll be also bad for my mental health. And we're going to cover that. We'll cover Love is Blind when it comes out. Like UK is coming out in August. So just a lot of things going on. But anything 90 Day, Love After Lockup, any kind of trash like that. And on Thursdays, I chat pop culture and Bravo. Melissa is a frequent guest. I got to get you on the roster for July. We're in July. I got to get you on the roster for August.
I know. You know what? I was getting my recording schedule and I am booking now into September, the end of September. And I'm like, what has happened to
What
my
happened? Yeah, I know. I need to start booking for August. Wow.
I know. It's crazy.
So go over there and listen on. If you're into Bravo, Thursdays is the day for you. Yes.
Right. And if you're like, there's a lot of people who always want me to cover 90 Day stuff or Welcome to Plathville. So if you're into that, check out Pink Shade Pod because our girl's covering that. Also, don't forget to check out Your Bish Therapist on Instagram. Check me out on Patreon. I will be posting the screenshots of what I found, the receipts of that on my Patreon. You can find that on Instagram as well. And the last thing I'll say is if you don't mind, please give Mary Payne and your girl a 5-star review.
It's free.
People really love to be nasty.
A 5-star review is a free thing to do.
It's free and
helps
super
us out.
Helpful. That's right. So for today, thank you, Mary Payne, for being here. Thank you, everybody, to listening. Sending love to you and yours. And ta-ta for now. Disclaimer. Posts are not intended to diagnose, treat, or provide medical advice. Your Bish Therapist is for entertainment and informational purposes only. The podcast, my opinions, and posts are my own and not associated with past or present employers, any organizations, Bravo TV, Greyheart Productions, or any other television network. The information in YBT podcast and on its social media is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose or treat. Please do not act or refrain from acting based on anything you read, see, or hear on YBT podcast or associated social media. Communicating with YBT via email and or social media does not form a therapeutic alliance. Melissa, operator of YBT, is unable to provide any therapeutic advice, treatment, or feedback.